moved and seconded to approve the minutes of August 6th. Is there any discussion? None appearing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I don't believe we have any road improvements.
I put one on the agenda, but Alan didn't get it to me, so we'll just postpone it till the next meeting.
Election resolution, and that's resolution 2020-24, a resolution requesting Teton County Election Administrator to conduct a November 3rd, 2020 federal general election as a mail ballot election.
May I say something?
Yes,
In
ma'am.
response to our mail ballot request, I would really encourage the commissioners to approve me and allow me to hold a mail ballot election. I think it's just like it is in June when the COVID-19 still hasn't gotten any better. My judges, 3/4 of them are in the late 60s, 70 age group. And they blessed their hearts when I put out a letter to them asking them, would you still serve? At least 3/4 of them said they would. But having no extra election judges, that it would make it very, very tough to hold a poll election. But what I want to stress is, so as of August 18th in Teton County, we have 3,933 registered voters. Active voters are 3,668. Absentee voters are 2,922. So as of right now, my active voters that are going to get a an absentee ballot mailed to them anyway is 79.6%. The difference between all registered voters and active voters is they're called inactive voters, which means they've been mailed information, it comes back as undeliverable. They didn't vote in the last general election. They haven't responded to all of our information for updates, so they stay as inactive. And so, but the state makes us figure that they're registered voters because all they have to do is to come in and fill out a new registration form. But my absentee percentage with all the registered voters is still 74.2%. And for just an example, in Pendroy, taking away the inactive voters, there would only be 56 people that would have the chance, or that would go to the polls, if it was at 100%. And so it's kind of hard to ask judges to
Come in just for that.
and especially with what's going on.
So just a question, on the primary, how did that function?
It was fantastic. We had about 10 things that could have went better. We learned a lot by being able to have a total mail ballot for the primary, to set a few more standards in place. I sent out another letter to every non-absentee voter again, and our response has been phenomenal. And it wasn't necessarily to vote by absentee, but it was to update their addresses and their signatures, because you're well aware that we had a
Glitch?
We had a glitch. We had a young lady in one of the precincts that did not receive the letter that said her signature did not match. She admitted that her signature changed in about 2008. She registered to vote in the year 2000 and never had an update because she always voted at the polls. So I think we probably had 75% of those letters come back, not necessarily all of them wanting to vote absentee, but just now that we have a current address, we have phone numbers, because we didn't have a phone number for her, with everybody canceling their landlines. So we got current phone numbers, we've got an updated signature. So I think for the whole state, it's just going to be a better prepared mail ballot election. So I would really request for you to approve and adopt the resolution for me to allow Teton County to be a mail ballot election for the general.
I would make that motion to approve resolution 2020-24.
And I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the mail ballot for the 2020 election, and this is resolution 2020-24.
One question. So what the governor's directive said was that you would have opportunity to choose mail ballot election, but at the same time you would have to have, people would have to be able to vote in person also. So Paula, does that mean you'd have like one polling place here at the courthouse, or?
I will have one polling place that will be at the courthouse,
Okay.
as in every election that we have. We always have the opportunity. We will put up a couple extra polling booths.
Okay,
Because if they choose, we have had people call already and say that they will be voting here, they will bring their ballot, they will go into the booth, put it into the ballot box themselves. If the person chooses not to bring the one that they were mailed, they are not comfortable with it, they didn't receive it, we are allowed, and the system, because we're a statewide system, you can only get one ballot, but that person will be in person. They fill out a form stating that to void their other ballot. We void that, we issue them a new one, and they will be handed a fresh ballot right here. They'll vote it, and they will deposit it into the polling booth, or the ballot box themselves. And we have had probably 15 calls of people. I did get a statement from the regional director from, do you want me to read that? Would you like it? It's just that we reached out to, our association reached out to say, with everything that's been going on and all the headlines and everything, and she said that voters and election officials can rest assured that the U.S. Postal Service remains fully committed to fulfilling its role in the electoral process when policymakers choose to use our services in administering elections. It went through to say that they can handle it, they will handle it, and they will go above and beyond the call to make sure that everybody, that we don't have what happened over the primary. But you also have to realize that Denver was shut down partially because half of their postal service people got COVID. So, but they're ready, they're prepared, they have backup plans, and it's pretty much what it says.
Well, and part of that is the ballots are going to go out the first part of October, I believe.
The 8th, yes.
So you basically have a month to
Yes.
get them back in, so.
so sooner is probably better.
Well, and absentee ballots or the mail ballot have to be available to the public October 2nd. It's Friday, October 2nd. So we will have them. They'll be available. They will not be mailed out until the 9th of October, whatever that Friday is. And if they choose, and this is what the people that have been calling, they will come in on the 2nd or after, but before we mail, yeah, that would be the 9th, October 9th. And we will pull them for them, hand them their ballot if they're not comfortable with going through the mail. Melody's graciously offered, we're gonna put together an article that everybody will understand. The green affirmation envelopes that your ballot is sent back into will have a stamp, a real stamp on there, because we have to provide the postage to come back. That is reimbursed through the state of Montana, through the COVID monies from the state. And the reason that I chose to use a hard stamp this time, instead of just running through my machine, was that we had an injunction filed on it that a group had wanted us to count any ballot that had been mailed on or before election day. Well, when we run them through our machine, they're not stamped with a date again. This way, these will have to be canceled and run through with a date that they were mailed, just in case it happens again, that we will be ready to be able to help that. And it also will help with the post office in future to say, hey, this is how many we got back that were mailed on time.
So it's like a lot of fail-safe deals are put in place.
It really helped having the first one by total mail ballot. The whole state was mail ballot. So it did, we've got a lot more direction. All of us that had problems or how we worked it out, it all goes out to our association, so we're all just better off for it.
Paula, is there any concern about, at least in our county, if you can speak to voter fraud doing it this way?
No, and one of the things, we have an all-mail versus poll and absentee point counterpoint that the association put together, and it addresses that there's never been a fraud case that's been completed to say, yes, this was a fraud, this was fraud. So Montana, we've been doing this for 20 years. All of our schools in the bigger cities, they've always been doing that ballot. Our municipal, Shoto hasn't had a polling place, gosh, I'm thinking for 15 years. It's all been as total mail. So total mail ballots for Montana is not unusual, and we've got our fail-safe procedures and how we maintain it and make sure everything is correct. For example, the lady that signature didn't match. We check every ballot to their signatures. One person had carpal tunnel surgery. She signed it with her left hand. We called, she confirmed, said, yes, that was me. I couldn't use my hand to write. It'll be back to normal. Next. So we just document that.
Because you had almost like 12 to 15 that you had to check.
Yes.
If the signatures didn't
Yes.
match.
Yes. And that's pretty good when you figure we have almost 3,000
Yeah.
that came back.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, and we've had discussion.
Sorry.
So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Policy hearing, we went through on the advice of NACO and updating the county policy for the employees and implementing a new road policy, or not specifically road, but a drug testing policy for the CDL holders. We opened that hearing at our last regular meeting, and then on that Monday night, the 10th, we had a meeting here for the employees come in after hours and comment. We had no one come in. A couple people stopped.
I did get 2 comments through email from employees, and one was just had a few questions. There was no objections to it, and the other one was in agreement with the new policy, so.
I'm sorry, Jim. I was typing and not listening. Did you say you had people come to the August 10th hearing or nobody came?
Nobody came.
Well,
Just-
technically Lisa stopped in
Yeah.
and wanted to know what was going on, so technically we had one employee did come in.
Yeah, and said, oh,
But you got 2 emails subsequently, and
Yes,
one had a question and one said they had no problem.
correct. Yep.
Okay, so refresh my memory. Is our hearing still open on that?
Yes.
Okay, I will close the hearing, and I would entertain a motion to adopt those policies.
I would move that we accept the new policies that were delivered to the employees and the drug policy to the road department on the chauffeur's license, DOT.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to adopt those 2 new policies. Is any further discussion? None appearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And we have an open hearing on the dissolution of the hospital district. We've been taking comments, and there's 13.
Yep, we've got 13 comments, and all of them agree that it's time to close the district.
And my immediate family, like my sons and my wife, they're all in favor of closing dissolving the district. So anybody have any other comments?
Do you have the names,
I do.
Joe?
Yep.
Do you want those?
Oh.
No?
They're all Teton County residents,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
that's good enough.
Yep.
Okay.
Do you want to put them in the minutes at some point?
I'm gonna list the names.
Okay.
And I'll get that from you.
Being there are no further comments, I'm going to close the hearing and entertain a motion.
I would move to close the hospital district. Every comment we had was in agreement that it's time.
I'd second that.
Been moved and seconded to dissolve the Teton County Hospital District. Any further discussion? None appearing, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now we have a yearly contract with the Montana Cooperative Extension Service, and this is, we do it every year for the extension agents. And currently, have one of those open,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and
Now, who was the last one? Who's
Matt.
Yeah, Walter.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And COVID has really disrupted that process of getting.
Oh, I
into it.
suppose. It's kind of disrupted everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But we did talk to our extension agent during our budget meetings with the department heads, and they are in the process of starting the hiring process again.
Oh, okay.
They had 4 applicants, and they were gonna check to see if they were still interested, because they applied in, was
Yeah.
it May?
March.
And then
Oh,
everything got
okay.
shut down. They put a hiring freeze on because
Right.
of COVID. So
Okay.
we will be starting that in the near future, it sounds like. I would move to accept the extension contract between MSU and Teton County.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded to sign the service agreement with Montana State University Extension in Teton County for extension agents. Any further discussion?
Jim, just remind me, under that contract, what do you guys pay? What does the county pay for?
65%, isn't it,
Yeah.
of the wages for the 2 extension agents?
Right, so they would get 65% of my wages for each of them, and then Teton County supplies the office, the staff, and the supplies and vehicles to maintain.
Okay. And then MSU pays 35% of the salary? Okay.
They get quite a bit more than
Oh,
we do.
They'll have master's degrees.
Yes, and doctorates.
Some of them are doctorates, yes.
Any further discussion? None appearing, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, that takes us to cattle guard resolution, and Joe's the one that kind of been working on this, so I'll let him.
Well, it came to our attention that what we've actually been doing with the cattle guard maintenance in the road department did not reflect the last resolution that was passed in 1998. And the new road supervisor brought it to our attention that he would like it to reflect what we're actually doing. So we rewrote the resolution to reflect the fact that the Teton County Road Department maintains and replaces all the cattle guards in the roads in Teton County unless there's a request for a new cattle guard to be placed in a road. Then the person that requests it has to pay for the cattle guard and the concrete footings, and then the county puts them in. So this resolution just is reflecting what we've been doing for years.
And that's resolution 2020-25.
I would move to approve resolution 2020-25.
I'll second it.
Been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 2020-25 concerning the cattle guards. Any further discussion? None appearing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Takes us to commission reports. Since this whole COVID deal, every 2 weeks, Mako and local government center have what they call a virtual town hall meeting. And it's on, this one happens to be tomorrow. I'm planning on coming in, and last time I came in and Paul and I sat down and viewed it. I'm not a big fan of virtual meetings, but that's the way it is. But I think those have been very beneficial to kind of keep the counties up to speed on what's going on, particularly with that 1.25 billion the state got to deal with COVID. There's been some really good guidance on how to apply for those funds that we get reimbursed, like sanitizer, masks, whatnot.
Plastic, all the.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's kind of a convoluted process to get reimbursed, but
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
our clerk waded through it and we got reimbursed.
Okay.
And there's several different time periods to,
Well, there'll be 2 more.
yeah.
So the next one, yeah, it'll be
As
every
it's-
2 months, because this has to be expended by December 31st. Which I'm
But-
sure they'll move it.
But I plan on attending or coming in tomorrow and viewing that again. You gentlemen have anything?
Nope.
I guess the only thing that I looked on the Montana census, and Montana's sitting 46th for being somewhat completed out of 50. And we're only at like 50% of the number that we had before. So I would encourage the citizens, and I didn't look, I couldn't look to see what Teton County was, but it means dollars in the county's pocket, so if we can finish the census, that would be encouraged.
I just got another postcard in the mail the other day. If, to the effect that if you haven't
Yeah.
replied,
I got one of those.
I got one too.
Yeah.
I've already replied.
yeah, I did that over online, which is not my favorite way to do stuff.
But it really only took like minutes to do it on.
Yeah, it was pretty easy, and I'm not real techie, and it was
Yeah.
pretty
Pretty
simple to do.
process, yeah.
But you wonder if it really went in there. That's what that question.
Well,
I do
at
too.
the end, they had a number that you could, a confirmation number, and I wrote it down, and it's sitting on my phone just in case somebody shows up that I can verify that. But yeah, it was kind of open-ended at the end. But you did get a verification number, I believe, so I don't know.
Okay, public comment.
It's not a comment, but it's a question I didn't get asked during the hospital board, hospital dissolution. Now, it stays open for 6 more months after the dissolution, or are we done now?
The hearing
We're
is
done.
done and the motion's been made, so we are technically, the district is closed. The 6 month is a window for all of the bills to get paid.
Okay.
We
That-
can't expend any money for
Okay,
6 months
that's
from
it.
today,
That's it, it's,
Yep.
I can't expend any money for 6 months.
Yep.
Okay.
which will give us time to have a couple, we still plan on having a couple public meetings.
Right.
We'll have one here in Shoto and one in Fairfield.
But there may be 2 bills to be paid out of that fund yet.
Well,
Their
Their
clerk,
controller and their clerk, yeah, yeah. And
and
they're
I,
actually meeting on the 27th, which, I mean, do they exist? I mean, you guys dissolved them today, but they were planning a board meeting on the 27th, so I don't think they exist anymore.
Well, there must be some sort of mechanism for him to pay the bills because that's what the 6-month window is, but
Yeah.
I will try to be at that meeting and
Okay, thank you.
maybe have some answers if there's any questions. And I think Jim and Dick are thinking about going to that too. We were gonna tell you that the 3 commissioners will be at that meeting. So if you need to post it for whatever,
That
keep
would be
us
good,
legal.
too. I think.
Well, it should be posted anyway
Yeah,
at a
it's-
public meeting.
Yeah,
But with the commissioners, all 3 being there, if you want to cover us on that, I'd appreciate it, Malin.
I would like to thank Paula and her office and Sarah and the commissioners for putting up with all of our questions and all of the help we needed in recording all of the signatures.
Well, I would like to thank you gals for all the work you did gathering the signatures.
It took forever, but it was fun out there.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we do appreciate your efforts. It was not an easy process.
All righty.
Oh, Sarah, thanks for it.
Absolutely, yes.
Any more public comment? I don't think, no public notices.
Oh, can I say one thing?
Yes, ma'am.
Reminder that the budget hearing is still open for comments. Anybody wants to.
All righty, our next meeting is scheduled for the 3rd of September.
10 a.m., same place, same
Yep.
station.
Yep. All righty, we stand adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
The 6 months starts the day then, right? At the close of the year. Okay.
I would assume so.
Yeah.